Всем привет, меня зовут Ekaterina Kotrikadze.
Hello, my name is Ekaterina Kotrikadze, and right now I am in the capital of Georgia, Tbilisi, where a mass protest has engulfed the city. The people are opposing the passing of a law against foreign influence, which closely resembles a Russian law against so-called foreign agents. There is one person who would love nothing more than to participate in these protests, to address the people from the stage and to demand change. He has a rare gift for inspiring people to not settle for less and for achieving meaningful reform. He could not be here because he is currently in a penitentiary hospital here in Georgia. I am, of course, talking about the country's former president, Mikheil Saakashvili. He was the president that reformed the police in Georgia and set the country on a course to join in the EU. Now the parliament is working to bring Georgia back under Russian control. I was able to pass some questions of mine to him, and here is what he had to say. Alexei Navalny returned to Russia, got imprisoned, and eventually killed. He also returned to Georgia, got imprisoned, and are now in the penitentiary hospital. Are you afraid for your life?
I was very moved by the fact that Alexei Navalny expressed solidarity with me from his own jail cell. To me, he is a great hero of world history. Putin even referred to Navalny as Saakashvili. Putin has repeatedly publicly threatened to kill me. You could say that I am the only person Putin has threatened to kill who is still alive.
What would you like to say to Putin now that there is a stalemate, as many analysts put it, or even some advancement of Russian troops in the war in Ukraine, and the opposition has been destroyed or driven out of the country? Is he winning?
As soon as Putin attacked Kiev, I immediately said that his days were numbered, and now, especially after the latest decisions in Washington and in Europe, I am even more convinced.
Can the law regarding foreign agents lead to a regime change in Georgia?
A regime change in Georgia is inevitable. This law will only speed up and deepen that process.
You have repeatedly said that Ivanishvili, the oligarch said to hold most of the power in Georgia, pursues Putin-style policy. Do you have any evidence of a direct correlation?
The evidence is overwhelming. After coming to power, Ivanishvili immediately shut down the First Caucasus channel, Georgia's Russian-language TV channel, but let Russia open a Georgian branch of Sputnik. He shut down the American University of Technology and the American Teachers Program in Georgia. On orders from Moscow, he shut down two important infrastructure projects, the Lazika-Anaklia port and the Royal Caribbean terminal in Batumi. Individuals detained for spying for Russia were amnestied as political prisoners. Lists of Georgian participants of the 2008 Russo-Georgian War were handed over to Russian special services, and many participants of special operations against Russia were killed in Georgia, and criminal cases were brought up against many by the chief prosecutor, who, according to the State Department, is an agent of the Russian Federal Security Bureau. And in recent years, the Georgian government has taken a sharply anti-Ukrainian stance that has become a place for laundering Russian money, and a separate law was passed last week that promoted this political course.
How do you see the outcome of the upcoming parliamentary elections in October?
The ruling party, Georgian Dream, will be blown out of the water, but of course they will try to fix the elections in their favor.
Do you expect that President Zurabishvili will pardon you?
Zurabishvili is now playing a generally constructive role. All her colleagues that she is meeting with, including Macron, the president of her country of origin, the European Parliament, are demanding she pardon me. This demand is supported by signatures of hundreds of thousands of Georgians. Whether she will have the courage to commit this act, I don't know. After all, according to Ukrainian intelligence, I am Putin's personal prisoner.
Do you consider yourself the leader of the Georgian political opposition?
I have the largest number of loyal supporters. At this stage, I see my personal role in ensuring the unity of the opposition.
Mikheil Saakashvili, whose health has been deteriorating since his arrest and imprisonment in 2021, is looking healthier. He speaks in court via video calls, and he is lively and energetic, which is a stark contrast to the way he was only a year ago when doctors were afraid he might die. Now, the doctors are more optimistic. How are you feeling?
I haven't seen the sun or breathed fresh air for over 2 years. There are still traces of heavy metal poisoning. I correspond with Vladimir Putin, and our symptoms are very similar. I'm trying to work. I watch Georgian and Ukrainian language channels. Deputies, contrary to the law, are not allowed to visit me. I have also been illegally banned from making any phone calls.
Your party is losing popularity. Why is that?
I don't think it is. It's the same as before, but given that part of the party has split off into a separate party and the majority of the electorate also considers them quote-unquote my project, although they are not, both of these parties are quietly winning against the Georgian dream, and according to all polls, my personal support has increased a lot, despite many years of demonization by the pro-Russian propaganda of the dream.
Do you ever regret returning to Georgia?
I only wish I could be more active in helping Ukraine, where I am still the chairman of the National Council of Reforms under President Zelensky. On the other hand, my presence in Georgia is very inspiring for many people in the country.
Миша Saakashvili.
Misha is the short and endearing name for Mikheil, and that is the name by which Mikheil Saakashvili is referred to by both his supporters and his enemies. Saakashvili hasn't held an official post since 2013, and yet throughout all these years and right now as we speak, his name rings out through the streets of Georgian cities and towns. Be it pro-government or pro-opposition media, be it a chant of the protests such as the one we're witnessing right now, there should be no doubt in anyone's mind we haven't seen the last of Mikheil Saakashvili.